You ever read the description of a movie and it gives you a horror boner, and then you go watch the movie and it literally does nothing with your horror boner? Well, that was For Sale by Owner. Yes, a boring title to go with a boring movie. For Sale by Owner. That's something you put on a yard sale site on a Facebook. Or if you put hashtag For Sale by Owner on Twitter, you're going to find people selling shit. You're probably not going to find the For Sale by Owner film, and it's probably going to have like a 1.5 rating on IMDb and like a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. But what drew me in was the promise of a movie about the lost colony of Roanoke. Now, that is one of my favorite aspects of history. It's scary. There's so many things that could have happened. It's just really cool. Get any of that shit. Nothing about the lost colony up until the last few minutes of the film. A little bit at the first, and then the last few minutes. Now, let me tell you what it's about. In it, we got your basic boring white guy that can't impress his father-in-law because he doesn't have a job and doesn't have any prospects, and he's old and a little... The guy kind of acted a little, like, slow. That's the acting that he came across. Like, he was a little on the slow side. Or maybe it was just a terrible actor. But anyway, he and not JJ from Criminal Minds, I don't even remember her character name. The actress's name is Rachel Nichols, move into a big house. But apparently it's not a big enough house. I think he becomes a contractor. But he sure does spend a lot of time working on one house with just one other person. Now, they move down there, and he says he's going to get information on the lost colony, and that's what he's going to do. And for a few minutes of the film, he actually starts doing that. And then, after his wife quickly dismisses him, and says, I don't need this, because she's got her own frickin' problems, he just lets it go. Now, Frankie Faison and his son, who doesn't have much dialogue, if any, come out of the fog. And here's a way you can tell. You can always tell if you've watched as many horror movies as I have. Does he talk to them in front of other people? No. Do other people talk to them? No. These two come out of the fog while he's working on this house, and they say, hey, I used to know the owners of this house. Not a big, huge red flag at all. How stupid do they think we are? Anyway, he and the other guy work on the house and talk about shit. That's the movie. Frankie Faison and this white guy working on the house and talking about other stuff. Is the lost colony ever mentioned again? No. Does some interesting stuff happen? Kind of. It's Hallmark. Hallmark did horror. The interesting things that happen is that maybe when he's walking alone at night, or he's going out to his truck to get a level, or going out to his truck to get a hammer, the sky is all scary and foreboding, and then it's not scary and foreboding anymore, and he goes back in the house. After wasting serious amounts of time and just more or less watching two dudes build a house, it all collapses in on him, going back and forth, goes to the house that he's working on, and it's no longer bare walls and exposed plywood and all that stuff. It's beautiful. It's got like freaking It's all finished. I mean, it went from bare wood. It was like in Jumanji where they just cleaned shit up a bit and then it's all great. That's what it was. And it's going back and forth in his mind and he's not sure. And he just found out like 5 days ago that the black guy that's been helping him is not been alive ever. And there's a reason why his clothes look like they're from the 40s. And there's a reason why his kid doesn't talk. I think they got hit by a car or something. And they used to live in the house. But none of it had to do with the lost colony. None of it. Jesus Christ. So at the end, it never happened. None of it ever happened. He was in a coma. A coma. And at the end, on a news thing, before he takes that dirt nap, he wakes up halfway, and there are several different reasons why people think the colony left. Some people think they went and ingratiated themselves with the natives and became part of their culture because England was taking too damn long to bring supplies. Some people think the natives cannibalized them. Some people think they did some sort of mass suicide and all jumped in the river because they found a new god to worship. Some people think they all decided to worship the devil. Some people think they were aliens. There are many. You look up Roanoke, Virginia theories, you'll get a lot of theories about Roanoke, Virginia. And none of it's really solid. Like, how do 100 some odd settlers just disappear? This story was more interesting than the movie. Because the story goes that the supply ship coming from England came to see them, and it was like, yo, where are all the people? Well, I don't know. Oh, okay, let's look around. And there were fires still burning, cauldrons with fires underneath them, still full of water. Yes, they're cauldrons. It's just they're cauldrons until like 1900s. Food still out on the table, doors left wide open, horses still hitched to a hitching post. Pigs looking at you like, hey, when am I going to be fed? It looked like everybody vanished. But since they screwed around wasting time, you watching these two dudes build a house and the sun came there, and that has to send up a red flag too. Oh, hey, I brought my kid, who should be in school. But yeah, you saw two dudes building a fucking house. That was it. It was the most boring horror movie I've ever watched. And believe me, I've watched some real snoozers. And 4.2 on IMDb and not scored on Rotten Tomatoes. And there are some real dogs. How the hell did it get a 4.2? It's not even worth a 4.2. Me, I'm going to give it a participation star. Ooh, you got a participation star. Was there good acting? No. No, there wasn't. In a way, there kind of was because the guy was acting slow because he was in a car accident beforehand. 1 star. 1 star because it didn't scare me. There was bad acting. The script was just terrible. There was no plot. And you're just getting your participation. Here's your little participation. So just, for sale by owners suck. Don't buy it.